What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday to you here on the Halos in the Infield YouTube page as we get set for today's Halos in the Infield pregame show with guest host Dominic Lorenz from Katella Chronicles filling in for the one and only James today. James going to be out today and tomorrow due to work scheduling, so you will see my fresh face today and tomorrow here on the pregame show. A lot to talk about right now. We'll probably try to keep this within the 20 to 30 minute mark as the Angels get set for a game 2 matchup against the San Francisco Giants here on a Tuesday, August the 7th. Tough times for the Angels over the past week. It has been an excruciating week of baseball if you love the Angels. We'll get into that in a little more soon. But first, before we get into the pregame show, I want to remind you, don't forget to check out Halos in the Infield's two amazing sponsors. First up, it's 714 Tickets. You can get all your ticketing needs if it's baseball, football, hockey, basketball, concerts, theater tickets, anything that you need. Go check out 714 Tickets. Use the code HITI, H-I-T-I, when you check out, and you get 10% back or 10% off of your purchase. You get entered into a jersey raffle drawing, and you also get X amount of money back into your account. So go check out 714 Tickets, a major sponsor this year for Halos in the Infield. And don't forget, you can also check out Noble Ale Works. They're just outside of Angel Stadium off of Katella and Sunkist. Go out there, get some brews before the game. They have some amazing beers like Sweep the Keg is one of my favorite. I know it's Todd's favorite as well. So go on out, go to Noble Ale Works. You can get percentage off when you mention HITI at checkout at Noble Ale Works when you're picking up a nice beer. Go on out and do that and enjoy Noble Ale Works. And you also get free parking over there as well, which is a great benefit as well. So 714 Tickets, Noble Ale Works, check them out. But let's dive on in and see what we got today here on the Halos in the Infield pregame show. As mentioned, game 2 of this 3-game set as the Angels are nearing the end of this homestand after losing the first 5 of, I hate to say it, they've lost the first 5 of 7 here. It's a 7-game homestand, 4 against the Mariners, 3 against the Giants, and so far through the first 5 games, the Angels have lost all 5 games, all winnable games, which is even more frustrating in that sense. The Angels could be 5-0 on this homestand, but instead they're 0-5. We've already talked about what happened in the Seattle series, but let's get into last night, what happened in an excruciating 8-3 loss where the Angels went into the 9th inning leading 3-2, and unfortunately, just like last Thursday, our closer, Carlos Estevez, cannot close the deal, blows his second consecutive save. The Angels give up 6 runs in the 9th inning and lose by the final of 8-3. But it started off okay. Patrick Sandoval was on the bump for the Angels, and he did a terrific job, barring a lot of low-scoring affairs. 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 walk, 8 punch-outs for Patrick Sandoval last night, lowering his ERA to 3.86 here in 2023. So a not too bad start for Patrick Sandoval. He did give up a run to the Giants in the 4th inning on an RBI single by Patrick Bailey. 1-0 Giants. But the Angels got on the board and got ahead and took the lead for the first time in the bottom of the 6th inning, tying the game on a C.J. Cron single. And then Mickey Moniak singles in C.J. Cron. And the Angels are up 2-1 through 6 innings of play. Right next half inning, this has been a trend for the Angels all season long. As soon as they tie the game or get the lead, the very next half inning, they give it away. And Patrick Sandoval did just that last night. J.D. Davis homered for the 15th time this season, tying the game at 2 apiece. But the Angels got the lead right back in the bottom of the 7th on an RBI single by Luis Rengifo, who's actually been hitting much better, not only over the past month and a half, but especially in the leadoff spot. They showed the stat last night on Bally Sports West. In the leadoff spot this season, Rengifo's batting over 300. Batting any other position in the order, typically 6 through 9, he's batting about 206 to 210. So really finding his groove in the leadoff spot. And with Zach Neto being on the injured list with back inflammation, it looks like Rengifo is going to be staying in that leadoff spot for the foreseeable future. But then we got to the 9th inning. In the 8th inning, And we saw Mickey Moniak rob ex-Dodger Jock Peterson of a home run, and you're thinking, woo, the game's not tied. We're alive. But unfortunately, the ninth inning is where the wheels fell off. Giants take the lead on a 2-run double by Patrick Bailey. He had 3 RBIs on the night. Then Mark Mathias makes it 6-3 on a 2-run single. Then Thairo Estrada, an RBI single, 7-3. Blake Sebol adds another one with an RBI single as well. 8-3 Giants at that point. And in the ninth inning, the Angels had nothing cooking at that point. Estevez suffers his 3rd loss of the year. It's 8 runs, 11 hits, 1 run for the Giants, 3 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the Angels. The win went to Rogers. He's 6-4. The loss went to Estevez. He's now 5-3. Time of the game, 2 hours and 50 minutes in front of 32,582 at the Big A on a Monday night. But let's dive into it. Ever since the All-Star break, Carlos Estevez has been pretty much a train wreck. You saw it a little bit in that game against the Detroit Tigers on that Monday. He gave up the game and allowed the Tigers to tie it, but did not give it up. The Angels won it in the 10th inning. But then last Thursday against the Mariners, not good. Then last night against the Giants, not good at all. You know, it's very weird. Estevez has been lock solid all season long. A 1.32 ERA in April, a 1.74 ERA in May. He had a 3 ERA in June, and then a 1.80 ERA in July, but then an ERA of 34.71 in 3 appearances in August thus far. It's bad. And it really started off that Detroit game on July 25th, where he gave up 4 runs in the 9th inning. He then gave up 1 run in 2 innings in that Sunday game against the Toronto Blue Jays on July the 30th. But then ever since then, it has just been bad. Seattle gives up 4 runs, the grand slam on Thursday. Then on the 6th, on the Sunday game, he pitched no runs, 1 hit in an inning, and it looked okay. But then Phil Nevin, Mr. Philosophy, decides to bring him out the very next night in a save situation, and he only gets a third of an inning and gives up 5 runs on 3 hits. You pitched him on Sunday, and if you preach we can't pitch on back-to-back days, why are you putting him in a save situation? Now, I know Reynaldo Lopez is out on bereavement list right now, but why pitch him on Sunday if you're going to pitch him on Monday? Based on the track record that Phil Nevin has this season, why would you do that? Again, we're in August. We're in the midst of a 7-game losing streak, and you're going to pull stuff like this. Not the way you want to go out. But the Angels now have lost 7 games, and essentially ever since that doubleheader win against the Detroit Tigers 2 weeks ago, the Angels lost 2 of 3 to Toronto. They lost 2 of 3 to Atlanta. They got swept by Seattle at home, and then losing the first last night to the San Francisco Giants. So the Angels are 2-9 in their last 11 games, and oh boy, they've lost 7 in a row. Taking a look at the up-to-the-minute American League standings, it's not good. Angels are in 4th in the AL West, 11.5. You heard me, 11.5 games out of the first-place Texas Rangers. Houston's 3 back, Seattle 6.5 back. And then looking at the wild card race, Baltimore, Texas, and Minnesota lead their respective divisions. You have Tampa, Houston, and Toronto in control of their own fate in the wild card positioning. Seattle 3 back, Boston 5 back, Yankees 5.5, and your Angels, where the season starts today, as Roger Lodge and Trent Rush and everybody on AM 830 and Valley Sports believe, the Angels are 56-58, 8 games out of the final wild card spot. They have 2 more against the Giants before a day off on Thursday and an incredibly rough road trip coming up. It's the Texas 2-step. 2 series, 3 in Houston, and then 3 in Texas. Yes, here's my honkism for today. Mathematically, the Angels are still alive. Yes, mathematically, based on the numbers and on paper, the Angels are alive. But theoretically, are the Angels alive? And as you can see by the box score and R. Martinez and Spicy coming on in, it don't look like it. The Angels have the hardest schedule in the month of August amongst all Major League Baseball. They started with Atlanta, then Seattle, San Francisco. Then you got Houston and Texas. Then you come home to Tampa and Cincinnati. Then you got to go to the Mets and Philly. That is an incredibly, on paper, tough part of August. But guess what? If the Angels want to get to the postseason, they needed to drive this schedule and somehow find a way to win some games. Yeah, I get it. Can I sleep at night knowing that the Angels lost 2 of 3 to Atlanta? Sure. Is it great? No, but hey, I thought the Angels would get swept by Atlanta. They lost 2 of 3. They got at least one. But Atlanta's a quality team in the National League. They are the best team in the National League. So can I get over losing 2 out of 3 to Atlanta? Yes. Can I get over getting swept at home to freaking Seattle? No. Can I be pissed that they lost last night to San Francisco the way that they did? You damn right I am. They should not have lost Thursday's game to Seattle. They should not have lost Friday's game to Seattle, or Saturday, or Sunday, or last night. The Angels should be on a 5-game winning streak right now, folks. 5. And at that point, when they lost to Atlanta on that Wednesday morning, they were 56-53. If they had won 5 games, and I said they needed to go 5-2 in this homestand, bare minimum, they could have already done that. They could be 61-53 right now. And guess what? If they were 61-53, you know where that would put them in the wild card standings? 61-53 would have them about even with Seattle right now, probably about 3.5 games back. Yeah, 3 games back. They'd be tied with Seattle at the just on the outside looking in, but still only 3 games back if they had won these 5 games. You know how infuriating that is? We've had to deal with this year in and year out with the Angels, and you think after the trade deadline that happened, you thought positivity was coming. The Angels are 0-7 since the trade deadline on August the 1st. It's insane. It is absolutely insane what is going on. Yes, is there time? Sure, there's time. But unfortunately, the Angels are going to have to do it this way. The Angels can't win series anymore. They need to start sweeping series. And this is a tall task. So I'm saying this as if I'm being a honk, but it's real. This is what's really how the Angels got to get it done. If you want to be a honk and say they're still alive, they're going to have to go sweep 2 or 3 series in this month alone. You can't do the Giants because you already lost one. You have to probably either sweep Houston or Texas. And probably on that 6-game road trip, you probably need to win 4 or 5 just to even remotely not be a laughingstock. And one of those series needs to be a sweep. And oh, by the way, Texas has won 6 in a row. And Justin Verlander's on the bump Friday for Houston. And Scherzer on Monday in Texas. Then you come home to Tampa and Cincinnati. Tampa's been skittish a little bit, but they're still good. Cincinnati, battling for NL Central supremacy. Skittish, but good. Probably need to sweep one of those series. Then you go to the Mets. That Mets series needs to be a sweep. And then the Phillies probably need to take 2 out of 3. What are we doing here? The Angels the rest of the month, if they even want to make it remotely possible in September. Because September's schedule is not horrible. You have Oakland, Baltimore is really good, Cleveland, Seattle, Detroit, Tampa, Minnesota, Texas, Oakland. Okay. September schedule isn't horrible if you minus out Baltimore, Texas, and Tampa. You on paper, you should beat Oakland. You should beat Cleveland. You should beat Detroit. You should beat Minnesota, and you should beat Oakland again. Those are games that you can gain back. But the farther you dig this hole, as the Box Score podcast already said in the chat, it makes perfect sense. You're going up against teams that you got to win against, and you're falling flat. Even if the Angels want to get, only if the Angels want to get to the postseason, you're going to have to play Houston. You're going to have to play Texas. You might have to play Tampa. And if you're falling to them now in the regular season, honestly, I'd rather not make the postseason and get embarrassed on a postseason stage. That's just facts for me. It just is what it is. But the Angels can't be focused on what we call the Rally Chris special of taking 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4. The Angels need to find a way to start sweeping series. That's the only way you're going to come back in this far, far, far scenario that you've put yourselves in now. 8 games back. We were sniffing the division. 4.5 games on trade deadline day, and now we're 11.5. We've lost 7 games in that span. We were 2.5, 3.5 games out of a wild card. Now we're 8. You've shot yourself in the foot, and you got to find a way to get it back now because it's really, really bad looking on the outside looking in as us fans right now. Looking what we have right now, the Box Score podcast comes in saying, I haven't seen a team this bad with runners in scoring position in a long time. Absolutely nail it right on the head, Box Score. This team is absolutely atrocious with runners in scoring position this year. I believe now, during this 7-game losing streak, they are now batting below 200 with runners in scoring position this season. If that is true, I'd have to double check the numbers. If it is true, as R. Martinez just put in the chat, the Angels are in deep, deep poop emoji. Damn right. That's where the Angels are right now. If they can't figure this stuff out, because if this continues, Nevin's gone, Wise is gone, Thames is gone. Fire them at all. You know, who knows? Maybe Manassian might lose his job over what he did. And honestly, what sucks is I don't think Manassian has done a horrible job like previous Angels GMs. Has he been bitten by a little bit of tough luck? Did he inherit some tough luck? Absolutely. But I think he's done a decent enough job where the Angels should be winning. He's putting the pieces out there. He made the trade, and Moustakas has been the best of the bunch. I hope Moustakas is re-signed by the Angels. I don't care what anybody says. Moustakas should be re-signed, and you could get him cheap. 2 years, $10 million. He's coming back to Anaheim because you can't rely on good old Anthony Rendon. Absolutely. Boom. Rengifo's played better, so maybe we'll see. Neto is the future at short, and, you know, we'll see what happens. But Moustakas could play first and third. You know, you have Brandon Drury signed through next year. We'll see what the Angels do with Gio Urshela. I would like to get Gio Urshela back. I thought he was great for the Angels this season until he hurt his pelvis. But I think you have the makings of a good veteran leadership because I hate to break it to you. Rendon's not a leader. He's a sarcastic guy. And Ohtani's a leader, but he's got bigger and different fish to fry this offseason. And Mike Trout, I love Mike Trout. He's my guy. He's the GOAT. But Mike Trout doesn't seem, at least to the outward eye, to be what Moustakas is leadership-wise to this team. And that's really hard to say at this point because we all love Mike Trout. And I don't have anything against Trout. It's just it doesn't look like it. Is really, really tough. But before we get into starting lineups and pitching matchups today, let me dive in. I know Box Score Spicy and R. Martinez, you guys are dedicated here into this chat. I know it's early. It's early on the pregame show, not quite 6 o'clock. People are still getting out of work. But thank you guys for tuning on in here, filling in for the one and only James today on the pregame show. I'll be filling in today and tomorrow for James as he's got some work scheduling stuff to go through. But Box Score, I'll take a look at your comment right here. My take is that anything Perry has done, this team isn't any better than where he took over, and it's been 3 years. You could have scraped it and rebuilt this team in that span. Instead, we keep it. There's going to be a conversation to that point, I think, this offseason if Shohei leaves. We could have traded in the last 2 trade deadlines. We didn't. We thought we had a run. And coming out of the All-Star break, we all were feeling pretty good. Even though losing 2 of 3 to Houston, you swept the Yankees, you took 2 of 3 from Pittsburgh, and you swept the Detroit Tigers. The Angels were in a very good position, an extremely, not even good, great position going into the trade deadline. You couldn't even ask for a better spot because guess what? Even though they lost 2 of 3 to Toronto, they were still in a good spot. You beat Atlanta that first game of that series by the final of 4-1 thanks to Chase Silseth and some timely hitting. The Angels were still in a great position the morning of the trade deadline. And then it all shit hit the fan. And it's been crazy ever since. But Box Score, your comment will be something we talk about probably in the offseason, however the ship rides at the end of the day. Danny coming in saying it's going to be a tough mountain to climb, but if we can get it together, we may have a chance to still make a wild card, but we will need some help. As I said already, Danny, maybe you just tuned in, but I said this at the top of the pregame show. On paper, based on the numbers, the Angels are still alive. They're not mathematically eliminated yet. Theoretically, it feels like they're inching towards elimination. The only way to get out of this hole that they've buried themselves in is definitely, you're correct, they're going to need a lot of help. They're going to need Toronto to lose games, Seattle, Boston, New York. They need help. Scoreboard watching. They're going to be doing a lot of that. But they need to go out and sweep, not take 2 of 3 and win the series. They need to flat out sweep series. They need to go and sweep Texas, because I know they're not going to sweep Houston, okay? And sweeping Texas may be rough enough. They need to sweep like a Tampa. They need to sweep a Cincinnati. They need to go sweep the Mets. They need to go sweep these teams. August, on paper, the Angels have the hardest month of August amongst any team in Major League Baseball. September's a little easier. You get Cleveland, you get Oakland twice, great. But if you screw up more of August, and guess what? Today's only August the 8th. So we've barely just scratched the surface at the month of August. Still looking for that first August win, by the way. Theoretically, it's not looking great. Mathematically, sure. But they need to sweep teams, and they need to do it in very quick, fast fashion. It's hard. Box score said it. Theoretically, yes, the Angels are still alive, and they could make a push. Absolutely. But with this schedule, it is absolutely tough. 100%. It's absolutely tough. Very tough. But you never know what can happen. We've seen weirder and wilder things. But box score, you literally took the words right out of my mouth. The Seattle series will be the one we look right back at and say, that was the turning point. We could have saved our season there. Even if the Angels split that series 2 games apiece, then at this point, the Angels would be 58 and 56. At least 6 back of the wild card is better than 8. Even splitting that series with all the turmoil that it was, I would, at this point, coming into today, looking what happened last night, I would have been satisfied. I would have been like, okay, maybe we dodged a worse bullet, but at least we're there. Yeah, but, it is what it is. Anywho, let's take a look at today's starting lineups, because we have a new Angel, Lucas Giolito, on the bump, getting ready to make his Big A debut. Hopefully, that sparks some relevance and some drive in this Angels team to pull out a victory. Let's see what we got. First, we'll start off with the visiting San Francisco Giants, who have a left-hander on the bump in Scott Alexander. He's pitched in 39 games. He's a reliever turned starter, 6-1, a 3.21 ERA in this season. He's pitched in 30, or pardon me, let me see, right here. Yeah, back-to-back here. 39 games, 4 of those in a starter's capacity. So let's see what we got. They have Wade Jr. leading off at first, Jock Peterson in left, Flores the DH, Michael Conforto in right, J.D. Davis at third, Sabal the catcher batting 6th, Estrada at second batting 7th, Brandon Crawford at short batting 8th, and former Dodger A.J. Pollock batting 9th and in center field. So there's the starting lineup for the San Francisco Giants. And then you got Lucas Giolito on the bump for the Angels. Where's number 24? He's 6-8 with a 4.36 ERA this season. It has been troubling times for him this year in an Angels uniform. With the White Sox, he's 6-6 with a 3.79 ERA. But with the Angels, he's 0-2 with a 12 ERA. He gave up 1 run against the Toronto Blue Jays in his first Angels game, but then gave up 9 runs against the Atlanta Braves last week. So it's he gave up 3 runs, in 5 1/3 against the Toronto Blue Jays that first game. But it's been extremely tough times for Lucas Giolito. He's going to have to find a way to ride his ship for the season, because this is where the Angels got to make a turn. If the Angels even want to, or if Angel fans remotely want to say, we have a chance and the season starts today, today's got to be the day. Sunday's got to be the day. They got to get back in the win category. How do they get back in the win category? Well, it starts off like this with the starting lineup. Leading off at shortstop, Luis Rengifo. Ohtani will bat second at the DH. Brandon Drury back in the 3-hole at second. CJ Cron cleanup at first base. Mike Moustakas batting 5th at third. Then you have Grichuk in left. Hunter Renfroe batting 7th and right. Then you have Moniak dropping down to the 8 hole to try to lengthen that lineup a little bit in center. And then Chad Wallach will do the catching duties tonight for Lucas Giolito, batting 9th behind the plate, Mr. Chad Wallach. So there's your starting lineup tonight for the Angels. We'll see what happens. There's a lot to go down here in this time. It's really hard to say. The Angels runners in scoring position has been an extremely bad situation for them this season. Batting below 200 is completely unacceptable with this lineup. Paramanasian made some trades you think they would help, but they have not helped with the exclusion of Mike Moustakas. Grichuk has played pretty well. I will give Randall Grichuk some credit. Grichuk has been a nice piece to the puzzle. I'll bring up his stats right now to talk about. But I've liked the play of Randall Grichuk. Defensively, he hustles. Offensively, he's been a nice charge. Yes, he does hit or does swing and miss at a lot of strikeouts. But so far in 8 games with the Angels, he's batting .233 with 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, and a triple. 7 hits and 30 at-bats. So he's been okay so far through his time. And then if you look at a newcomer, C.J. Cron, who's an old Angel coming back for a second time around, his tenure or his 8 games with the Angels thus far, he's batting just .207. So those two guys not really striking that much in that scenario. So things that you would think would win, but you never know. R. Martinez, Cesar Lopez also checking in. I'll get to both of your comments right now. R. Martinez coming in saying, how long do you think it will take Trout to acclimate to baseball again once he returns, and will he be affected? It depends if he takes a rehab assignment. If he goes to single A Inland Empire or triple A Salt Lake, maybe he acclimates back into this lineup a little bit. But depending where the Angels are at that point, if they're 8 games back or worse or better, it's going to very much depend. It's a wild card factor in that scenario. Speaking of injuries and rehab assignments, tonight, I haven't looked at Twitter, but from my minor league baseball conversations and knowledge that I have of Angel situations and other teams in the California League, as I bring up a tweet right now from the voice of the Inland Empire 66ers, Steve Wendt. He has posted that our catcher, Logan O'Hoppe, has been activated, and he will be on rehab assignment with the Inland Empire 66ers for the majority of this week. The Sixers are in Rancho Cucamonga taking on the Dodgers affiliate, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. So if you live in Southern California and you want to go down and see Logan O'Hoppe DH and make some catching starts, go on out and see Logan O'Hoppe this weekend in Rancho Cucamonga as he'll be playing for the Inland Empire 66ers. Angel rehabber Jose Marte has been added on rehab assignment as well. So he will be with the Inland Empire 66ers as well. So O'Hoppe and Marte both going to be with the Inland Empire 66ers. Cesar Lopez coming on saying, come on, we need to fire Nevin at this point. Blank. And also the worst hitting coach ever. Do not know what Perry is waiting for. It's a situation where it looked like it was a quick trigger last year when Joe Madden got fired, and it looks like they're kind of waiting things out. Trust me, I was on the train of fire Phil Nevin at the All-Star break and get some new coaching blood in at that point. But what's similar to last year's losing streak and this year's losing streak? Phil Nevin, Ray Montgomery, Matt Wise, and a bunch of other coaches. Coaching staff is very much the same in this scenario once again. So you can talk a lot about that. Sports and News comes in, says, what is this thing called a win? Never heard of that in weeks. Well, the last Angels win was last Monday, July the 31st, when they beat the Atlanta Braves by the final of 4-1. So time's a ticking, folks. Time is a ticking. The Angels got to make a move now if they even want to remotely be in the conversation for the American League wildcard race. They are 8 games back behind the Toronto Blue Jays. They have Mariners, Red Sox, and Yankees in between them. They got work to do. You can't win series anymore. You got to sweep series at this point. And the Angels are going to have to win tonight and tomorrow against the Giants in order to get back to 500 before a day off on Thursday, and you go to Houston and Texas. And in typical Angels fashion, you know what will happen? The Angels will get on a roll. They'll win today, they'll win tomorrow, but then they'll have to sit on their butts on Thursday and not have a game, and then go into Friday's game against the Astros ice cold and go probably on another losing streak. Because that's the typical Angels luck. What the heck are you going to do at that point? It's the same situation arising over and over again. We hope for better days here at Katella Chronicles as I fill in for the one and only James on the pregame show today. We cover the Angels. We cover the Ducks. You can find us on Instagram at Katella_CHROM. You can also find us on X. Used to be called Twitter, but now it's called X. You can find us at Katella_CHRON as well. And you can check out our website, katellachronicles.wordpress.com. We're in partnership with Halos in the Infield, so we are separate but one at the same time. And that's why we get to promote 714 Tickets and Noble Ale Works at the same time. Trust 714 Tickets for all your ticketing needs. And for any of your brewery needs, all of your adult beverages, you can go to Noble Ale Works as well, right across the street from Angel Stadium. But a lot to hopefully like about tonight's game. You got Lucas Giolito making his home debut. You also had Shohei Ohtani in the lineup, and Shohei on the bump tomorrow night against the San Francisco Giants. So hopefully two premier pitchers for the Angels. Got to get on the right side of things. If you somehow want to ride out this ship and even still be in the conversation, I'm not trying to quote Roger Lodger, but you got to find a way to start tonight. And it's got to be Giolito, and it's got to be Shohei tomorrow. Good pitching performances. The offense need to wake up the bats in some way, shape, or form and get on the right side of things. You win today, you win tomorrow, you're back to 500. You take a day off Thursday, and hopefully some magic in the positive way can happen in Houston tomorrow or this weekend, and Texas starting on Monday next week. But until then, I'm Dominic Lorenz. We'll run through the starting lineups one more time before we exit here on the Halos in the Infield pregame show for August the 8th, Angels versus Giants game. I think I might have said August the 7th earlier, but it's the 8th. 8/8/2023. For the Giants, they have Wade Jr., Peterson, Flores, Conforto, Davis, Sable, Estrada, Crawford, and Pollock, with starting pitcher Sean Alexander, who's 6-1 with a 3.21 ERA as a lefty, normally a bullpen piece in a starter's role. Lucas Giolito will be on the bump for the Angels tonight. Again, game starts at 6:38 p.m., roughly in about a half hour. Giolito 6-8 with a 4.36 ERA, 138 strikeouts this year. And the starting lineup for him will go as followed. Rengifo at short, Ohtani DHing, Drury at second, Crone in the cleanup spot at first, Moustakas batting fifth at third. Then you have Grichuk in left, Renfroe in right, Moniak in center, and Chad Wallach behind the plate and batting ninth, all in support of Lucas Giolito. Hopefully the hitting and the pitching can get on the same page tonight in a winning capacity, looking to snap the 7-game losing streak and get back to some winning ways, looking for win number 57, the old Francisco Rodriguez, trying to get win number 57 tonight. Game again starts at 6:38 on Bally Sports West. Go cheer on the Angels. Hopefully they can light that baby up and get a dub tonight. We'll see what happens. Giolito versus Alexander, first pitch at 6:38. Don't forget, the one and only Todd Fox will have his post-game show after tonight's game right here on the Halos in the Infield YouTube channel. So stick around for that. You can follow Halos in the Infield all over their social media, Twitter and Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you can find your podcast. And then, of course, you can find us, Katella Chronicles, Twitter, which is now called X, Instagram, on our website, and everywhere else on YouTube as well. Just type in, go subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as Halos in the Infield. But if you're on this live feed right now, you're probably subscribed to Halos in the Infield as well. But the Angels looking for a win. We haven't heard that saying in a while, but looking for it tonight. Let's go Halos. Let's go beat the Giants. Let's go recreate some magic like we did in 2002, and we'll see what happens. But it's Alexander for the Giants against Giolito for the Angels. 6:38 first pitch. I'm Dominic Lorenz from Katella Chronicles, filling in for the one and only James today. I'll be filling in for him tomorrow as well. So until then, Todd Fox post-game show after the game tonight, and I will see you right here on YouTube before tomorrow's game for the HITI pregame show. But until then, have a good rest of your Tuesday. Hopefully the Angels can pull out a win, and we'll talk about it throughout the social media universe. But until then, cheers. If you're getting home, drive home safely. Hopefully the Angels don't make us suffer again, but you never know. It's baseball. But until then, cheers, you guys. Have a good one. We will see you later on. Go Halos.